Hello everyone, I'm Old Guardian and this is my chess journey. And in this episode, I'm going to do some more checkmate patterns and some more queen sacrifices once again. If you enjoyed this content, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and let's go solve some checkmate patterns. Checkmate patterns number 3. How many exercises? Well, you're supposed to be play thousands or tens of thousands of games of this, so I suppose there's going to be lots of exercises as well. The opera mate works by attacking the king on the back rank with a rook, using a bishop to protect it. A pawn or other piece other than a knight of the enemy kings is used to restrict this movement. The checkmate was named after its implementation by Paul Morphy in 1858 at a game at the Paris Opera against Duke of Brunswick and Count Isouard, known as the Opera Game. Over here we just move the rook there, it's protected by the bishop. Maybe I should actually stop loading the next exercise immediately, so that I could get to see the end position for a few seconds longer. Checkmate in 2 moves. Seriously? Why is it always a queen sacrifice? Every single time. Always a queen sacrifice. Checkmate in 3 moves. I think I might be picking up bad habits from this. I am slightly concerned. What if queen goes there? King takes. Revealed check. King can escape there, and then rook checks, and it's a mate. Does that work that way? Queen, revealed check, mate. It does work that way. It does. Always a queen sacrifice, yeah. Then Andersen's mate. In Andersen's mate, named for Adolf Andersen, the rook or queen is supported by a diagonally attacking piece such as a pawn or bishop as it checkmates the opposing king along the 8th rank. Okay. Checkmate the opponent in 3 moves. Well, we certainly have our diagonally attacking piece, the pawn over here. But the problem is that there's this rook over here. If I just go over there, then the rook takes, and that's the end of that. And the mate is delivered by either the queen or the rook. And one of these 2 is protecting it. Like, my instinct in this position would be just for the queen to take the bishop and gain more material advantage, until ultimately my opponent has no pieces left, so then I will win. No, it cannot. Where will the checkmate be delivered? I would assume that I go... Well, it's going to have to be delivered either here or it has to be delivered here. And that means that the king has to be right where it is right now for the checkmate to be delivered. And this bishop has to be alive, because it has to keep protecting the pawn. Because if the pawn is not protected, then the king just... So I have to get either the king... I have to get either the queen, or I have to get the rook to one of these 2 positions. And I was thinking that I would be able to do it with this move. But they moved their king over here, so then I can't move the queen over there, because then the king would just capture the queen. But that was like how I thought it would work. Because if the other option to go to this side, I mean, there's this rook guarding this horizontal. So because this rook is guarding the horizontal, means that I would somehow have to get like a rook sacrifice, and then the queen would have to take something. That doesn't seem to be happening. So that would then mean that my angle of attack should be on this side. But if moving the queen here means that their king moves there, I have to prevent the king from moving here. King cannot move there. If king gets to this square, I can't force it back. But I'm so afraid of like, what if I... Oops. There, of course. I'm so afraid of unforced moves in these puzzles because I have absolutely no idea what my opponent is going to do and what they might be able to accomplish. Like, moving here gives them an unforced move. But maybe they really don't have anything good. And that's another unforced move. There's 2 unforced moves in a row here. I just can't figure out what they could be doing with those. Well, we have a checkmate in 4 moves from Spielmann vs. Höndlinger, 1929. I'm playing as white, so I want to check this one. It's an Anderson's mate, and that meant rook or queen is supported by a diagonally attacking piece. So I have these bishops here, most notably the dark square bishop. The dark square bishop is really protecting. It's on a great diagonal, very, very open. It's probably going to be the queen that checks, queen that mates. And I need this rook out of this diagonal, and I need that knight out of there. Because that knight being there really hurts me. Because then I can't move the queen over here. So if the knight first move the knight over there, would a knight take? Or could they just do something else somewhere else on the board because it's another forcing move? But if a knight were to take, then my queen couldn't take because this rook is still on the way. So then the rook would move here and then the queen would take. That doesn't... That's only 3 moves. Besides that cannot be the answer. It doesn't work that way. And then the problem is that this knight is still here. I haven't accomplished anything yet. Because this knight is still protecting that square. I can't go queen over there. I would take with the rook. No, there was a pawn that takes. Queen h7. Yeah, I just couldn't solve that. Sorry, this one was too difficult for me. But let's try to figure out why is this the answer. Like the knight goes over there. What does it help me to get the queen out of position in here? That one I don't see. It's not a queen, it's a queen sacrifice. It's a queen sacrifice all over again. Why did we need to move his queen? We didn't. We needed to move the knight away from the path of the rook so that the rook can get to the mate. I was trying so hard to mate with the queen. I didn't see that I needed to open this horizontal so that I can mate with the rook. The knight was just in the way. I just needed to get the knight out of the way. Whatever happens to the knight was irrelevant. I needed to get the knight out of the way so that I can get the rook mate. Dovetail mate. Checkmate the opponent in 1 move. In the dovetail mate, the mating queen is 1 square diagonally from the mated king, which escape is blocked by 2 friendly non-knight pieces. Yeah, because if they were knight pieces, they would just chop, 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 chop. Eat me alive. Okay, so queen protected by the pawn. It's not like just to make me feel stupid. I mean, it's a game that requires a lifetime of practice. And I gave up my first 41 years before I started. So I have given everyone else quite a bit of a lead. 41 years is quite a significant amount of your life. But we're trying to figure out something here, slowly. Okay. How? Checkmate the opponent in 4 moves. From Lopez versus Maykal. 1970. 4 moves. How can there be so many moves? Again. What was the description of the dovetail mate? The mating queen's 1 square diagonally from the king. An escape is blocked by 2 friendly non-knight pieces, so they have to be on the other side of the king. So there is the king. But as of right now, the king is not being blocked in the proper fashion. Everything is protected. Like, there are these networks of protections and threats and... Wow! Just look at this. Look at this web that has been weaved here. So many things. Well, I mean, I could check here. That would force the opponent's move. That's the only way I can force their move, right? But my biggest problem is that I don't understand what my opponents are going to be doing when there are more than one option. Because there's, of course, the rook. Rook over here, there's king over there, there's king over there. King could start running forwards too, but I don't think they would do that. That still leaves them with like 3 possible moves. But I can't see which one of them they're going to use. Well, actually, they're not going to go rook here, because if they go rook there, then I would just take the pawn. There'd be nothing to protect the pawn. Cancel something in 30 minutes, it's above your level. Modern times will change to 15 to 20 minutes. I don't have a clock here that would tell me how long I have been thinking about this. We'll give it a try. No, the king went there immediately. So, as you can see, that's kind of my problem. I don't understand the calculation. I thought that, okay, the king has these escape routes, but I figured they wouldn't take them. But obviously, because that was a mate in 4, if the king escapes there, so they had to escape in this direction. And also now they can just use the king to take my bishop. Should have used get a hint maybe, because now I realized that it actually tells you what the best move is. Bishop to g4. So bishop to g4 it is then. Rook takes. But I can't take the rook because then king takes. I could take the pawn, but for what reason? If I move here, king has to escape. Can't the king just escape here? And it's still protecting the rook. Let's get a hint. See best move. What kind of hint is that? That's not a hint. Oh, there is a hint. Oh, the queen. Oh, I didn't realize. The hint is on the board. It's the queen over there. What if I check from this direction? Then I can protect the... Then I can protect the bishop. Because if I know now that if I go there, the king is just going to go over there. It leaves the rook. No, but the king is now going to go over here if I do that. We'll just try a check over there. No. This is queen f2. Okay, I couldn't figure this out. These are getting a bit too difficult for me. Queen to f. Oh yeah, queen can check because the pawn protects it over there. But what moving over here means that the king goes there. King goes there, I go there, and it's check. Mate. I don't understand why it worked this way. I can kind of see it from this position, but I couldn't see the first two moves. First two moves were too difficult. Checkmate the opponent in one move. Other variations of the dovetail mate can occur if a queen delivers mate by checking the king from a diagonally adjacent square, while supported by a friendly piece, and you also control the two potential escape squares with other pieces, typically a bishop. Checking the king from a diagonally adjacent square was supported by a friendly piece. By the rook. By the rook and by the bishop. No, the bishop. Bishop alone, of course. If I go here, oh no, that would be terrible. But if I go there, then that's a mate. Because the bishop controls these squares. Yeah, first I thought that the rook controls there, bishop controls here, but then I would have just died. That wouldn't have been fun. Cosio's mate. Checkmate the opponent in two moves. Cosio's mate is an upside-down version of the dovetail mate. It was named after a study by Carlo Cosio. It was published in 1766. When did my music go all silent? Cosio's mate is an upside-down version of the dovetail mate. It was named after a study by Carlo Cosio that was published in 1766. In two moves, so I check here. The king has to run. Hi, Slot Daddy. Thank you so much for the support. King has to move there, and then I move over here. I'm protected by my king, and these two positions are taken, so the king has nowhere to run. Is that not correct? Boom. Checkmate the opponent in one move. The swallow's tailmate works by attacking the enemy king with a queen that is protected by a rook or other piece. The enemy king's own pieces block its means of escape. It's also known as the Gueridon mate. The enemy king with a queen that is protected by a rook or other piece. Well, I mean... Boom. Yeah, this is the level that I'm capable of. Maybe. I call this the epaulette mate. Okay. I have already forgotten almost all the names, but I will practice and I will learn eventually. Checkmate the opponent in one move from Keres vs. Fischer, 1959. Really? I'm beginning to question every time, like, does it really work this way? Iceman, when is it time to play real games online? Once I am confident that I have a grasp of some basic concepts of the game. Prepare a retreat square for checking are occupied by its own pieces, preventing its escape. Like, just moving the pieces randomly isn't very useful. First I would want to know a little bit about what I'm supposed to try to accomplish. Then I would be comfortable going into the games. Checkmate the opponent in two moves. From Van Veli vs. Morozevich, 2001. Supposed to be another epaulette mate, and epaulette mate was parallel retreat squares are occupied by its own pieces. Okay. Even just do not check with the first move. Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. That's kind of what it looks like. So, like, if I give them the initiative, then just tons of bad things can happen. But my options to check with the first move, it's the rooks. I don't think this knight can... This knight cannot check. No. There's no way it can get to a position to check. But whichever rook I use, it's going to be taken. Oh. Bishop takes. Queen checks. Okay. Got it. Checkmate in 1 from Carlsen versus Ernst 2004. I'm always I get scared now when I have a checkmate in 1, like I'm going to miss something here. I mean, I would just go queen there. Like the rook is covering this line. These rooks are preventing the king from moving to the sides. What can possibly challenge my queen when it's there? I'm just going to do it. It worked. Yay! Pawn mate. Although the pawn mate can take many forms, it is generally characterized as a mate in which a pawn is the final attacking piece and where enemy pawns are nearby. The pawn mate is sometimes also called the David and Goliath mate, named after the biblical account of David and Goliath. Okay. And there's a pawn mate in 2 moves from Greco versus Unknown in 1620. Pawn mate in 2. So this is the pawn that is going to mate. There are not a lot of options on what kind of pawn you can use to mate. I mean, I guess this could also be the one that... No, it can't be because it cannot be protected. So the mate is always going to be delivered by this pawn. What do I need to do to make that happen? If the pawn goes in now, what is going to happen? This pawn is protecting it. The knight can't take. The king can escape here. No, it can't. It can escape there. So queen over here is check. King has to move there. No. Wait, what? No, it has to be blocked by the other queen, right? Or the knight. And then the pawn can check and mate. Is that true? It is true. That is the way it works. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and check out my Twitch channel.